Hi. In the last couple of videos, I presented a case for the military involvement and defense of the nation of Israel that is taking place right now, and that there's a prophecy out there, an unfulfilled prophecy of Psalm 83, and how there will be a massive confederation of Islamic nations that will rise up against Israel to destroy them as a nation and keep their name out of total memory. And then I talked a little bit in another one about the dry bones, and the dry bones clearly in Ezekiel 37 being the whole nation of Israel that will be raised from the dead. And then it gives a second prophecy in Psalm 37 about the regathering of the nation of Israel in the last days, where God is going to deal with them face to face. And then chapter 38 and 39 of Ezekiel becomes very important, because it also talks about a major war that's going to take place against the nation of Israel and be ended on the mountains of Israel, where God will supernaturally destroy this massive confederation. Now, it's very important for us to distinguish the difference between Psalm 83, which is an Islamic nations gathered together against Israel, and then this other one that's not going, it's going to be a completely different confederation led by Gog of Magog. Now, Gog is a term that refers to being a czar or a king, something of that nature, a world leader, a dictator. And Magog is the land of the Ukraine today. Now, I personally believe that this prophecy is starting to form as well. I think that Vladimir Putin fits the description of this Gog, this world leader that is undermining things and trying to stir up strife against the United States and eventually Israel, and is supplying so many of those Islamic nations with weapons to fight against Israel. And right now, he is going into that landmass of the Ukraine. He's even firing his missiles. His armies are firing missiles into the free nation of the Ukraine. So I predict that Putin will win that war, that battle. He will take over the Ukraine. It's all over the news that they're talking about it. And then, as the prophecy in Ezekiel 38 and 39 describes, they will have an evil thought, and he will lead a confederation to go and take the spoils of the land of Israel. So that phrase, taking the spoils of the land of Israel, is important, because this is one of the reasons why some scholars believe that Israel will have great expansion and expand their borders and become very wealthy after they defeat the Islamic nations. And so Gog, Putin, will rise up a confederation against Israel to take their spoil. And it says that the young lions will basically have nothing but a mild protest. The young lions refer to, of course, England, the United States, New Zealand, Canada, and our nation. And instead of standing up against them, being strong, and being a major support of Israel, they'll basically just say to Gog or Putin, "What are you doing? Going down to take a spoil, take a prey?" And it'll be a mild protest, and they'll let them do it. Now, the important thing here in this particular battle that will take place is Gog's armies will come from the north, and they will get as far as the mountains of Judea, which of course is the high ground and where Jerusalem is. And then there will be a devastating supernatural destruction of that army. And it'll take 7 years to pick up all the waste of the destruction. Israel will then be supernaturally provided for. So there's a distinction. I want to just get this across to you. If you study Psalm 82 and that battle that'll take place, where the psalmist is praying for Israel, for God to do through Israel with their military might, make war against this terrorist threat, this other confederation in Ezekiel 38 and 39 will be coming down to do the spoils and try to take that land, because Israel at this time will be of such prime real estate, the navel of the earth. And some people have talked about, is there going to be a nuclear war in Israel? The land of Israel is too important. There will be destruction there, don't misunderstand me, but not the kind of nuclear destruction, because nobody wants to destroy the wealth and the values that are there, especially in the Dead Sea, the minerals and just the wealth. And they're going to be coming down there not to destroy the land, but to take the spoils. So I think it's important for you and I to understand these Bible prophecies. 1/3 of the Bible is made up of Bible prophecies. Many of those prophecies have not yet been fulfilled, but they've been foretold. And just like all the scriptures, they are going to be fulfilled. though every dot and every tittle or cross T is going to be fulfilled. And God, again, He doesn't just want us to be aware of it like we're know-it-alls or we know something that other people doesn't know. He wants us to be aware of the signs of the time so that we'll be active in resisting the evils. The Bible tells us to resist the devil and resist the evil. We're not supposed to just sit back and on our hands and just lack any passion at all. We're supposed to get involved spiritually. We've got to take our head out of the sand. We've got to wake up and understand that we have an assignment from God. We are ambassadors of His. We're not a bless me club. We're not here to get the blessings of Abraham per se, the wealth, be rich like Abraham. We're supposed to take the blessings that he had, such as the courage to fight wars and go and defend his family and defend the other nations, and have the faith of God to go ahead and be able to support the work of the ministry and be spiritually minded enough to be about the real, true responsibility of a man of faith, a woman of faith. Hope this is some inspiration for you. God bless.